All right, so we just started messing around a bit with the carburetor on this tractor project, and when I pulled the hose off, a bunch of this muck come out of there. It looks like oil, but it's not. I don't really know for sure what it is, but when you look up on the inside here, it is full of this, looks like tar type material. I'll put my screwdriver in there. I mean, it's just all just gummed up. It's nasty. So we'll go ahead and we're going to pull that carburetor off, and obviously going to have to be rebuilt, but we'll just put it in a little jug of gas and just let it sit there and kind of soak away for a while, and maybe some of that junk will get cleaned up out of there. We're not in a huge rush right at the moment to get it clean so that we can start. We've got other issues with the fuel. As you can see, that thing's nearly full of rust and junk, and so is the tank. So I'm going to be looking for a new tank at some point. Don't want to source one yet until I make sure that this thing's mechanically sound. So I know there's some issue from transmission area that said it made a noise, so don't know what that is until we get the motor running. But anyway, then we'll figure out what we need to do with it at that point. All right, just loosen up the supply line and check that out. It is full. It's just plugged full of rust and junk. So that carburetor is definitely going to have a bunch of that inside it. So we'll continue getting that thing off, and then we'll get it cleaned out. All right, so you've been watching me disassemble the carburetor. It had quite a bit of gunk in it, as we saw in the beginning, and once I separated it, really wasn't too surprising. But I've pulled all the pieces out, and I have them soaking here in this gas. That's also a good way to check your float. Obviously, your float should float, so we see it right here. Sometimes we'll get a pinhole in them, and they'll sink, and that'll mess everything up on your carburetor adjustment. So this is a good way to test that. We just got everything in there. Needle valve, the venturi, there's another adjusting pin down there, of course the float itself, and then back here in the sink, been using this carb cleaner. I've got the bottom half, and look at all that junk that's come out of that. Some of it was on the outside, some was on the inside, but starting to clean it up. Actually pretty decent. We'll let it soak for a while, and I'll have to make sure I wash out my sink, because it'll probably start working on that plastic. This stuff is pretty potent. It melted my gloves that I was using. So anyway, just want to show you kind of what you've been seeing on the time lapse and what we're doing. We'll continue. I'll take this in there as well and get that thing sprayed down, and then we may just set all of it in the gasoline overnight and just let it soak. All right, guys, so I've been working probably the past 30 minutes or so cleaning up this Marvel. Looks like it's a TSX422 carburetor coming off that WD, and it's cleaning up pretty well. I'm going to soak those parts overnight in gas, and probably end up using some more carb cleaner on them tomorrow. We'll just see how well they clean up. And then here's the bottom half. I just got it soaking. There's a bunch of crud down there in the bottom, so I've got it soaking right now. And the choke portion of this right here was completely seized, and I just used that carb cleaner and cleaned out on either side, inside and outside, both sides of it. And then I used some of that WD-40 penetrant. Just let it soak in there for a few minutes, and then I tapped it with a hammer and it came loose. So I just worked it loose, and now it's nice and free and operates like it should. So everything looks pretty decent with it. I do have to order a carb kit for this. I don't have one. I think I've got one for the, I don't know, let me check. I may have one here. Let's see. Yeah, so this one's for, looks like a 464, a 773. I've got a 422. Yeah, so that one won't work. So I'll go ahead and get that thing ordered up, and that way I've got it, and then we can finish the rebuild on this. And I think it's going to turn out to be a pretty good carburetor. Everything looks to be pretty good shape. All right, thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe, and leave some comments below if you've rebuilt a carburetor and you got some tips for me. I'd certainly like to hear them. I've rebuilt a few. Nothing too crazy. I normally deal with diesel motors, so working on some gas stuff's a little bit different for me. But yeah, leave me some comments, and thanks for watching.